Hi, my name is Celine and welcome to my channel. An anxiety breath exercise. So does a breathwork practice or exercise help us reduce anxiety? Does it make a difference? Today I want to talk about my experience using a breathwork practice for at least the last year, September 2020, and the impact it has had on my life in the hope that it can help you too. I also want to talk about clearing the backlog of emotion. So a lot of unhealed emotion, energy can get suppressed in our bodies and trapped. And that would have been my experience from a very young age. I really found it difficult to express how I was feeling. I often felt very uncomfortable, like I didn't fit in. So I suppressed a lot, and that became a pattern in my life. So really, anxiety for me has always been pointing me to unhealed emotions that I need to look at. They can also be signs of, maybe living in a way that's out of sync or out of alignment with who you are. Also, I would have spent a lot of time, anxiety, it's a big obstacle, and I found it a big obstacle to really stepping into our power. I mentioned this in another video, but I feel very strongly about this because it is just very passionate about this topic and really helping others step into their power and release anything that's holding them back. So for me, I would have spent a lot of time often in the past, maybe regrets or thinking about how things could have been different, or I've often spent time projecting into the future. What's going to happen? My fears, my worries, my hopes, everything. But in a way, that's really prevented me from being present. And when we're present, we're in our bodies, we're connected to our power, we're connected to our breath. So it's really important. And anxiety can keep us out of our body. So it's a really important work, I feel, to be able to come back and be present. Ever since I've started doing this work, I've suddenly found it's like a well of creativity that I have access to, and I can be blocked and I can go back into anxiety, but I've really know from experience the benefits. It's just amazing. So very important. There are lots of ways to do this work. Very specialist trauma therapists, energy workers, coaches. But I just want to mention that because I do think it's very important before stepping into a breathwork practice. And I really feel they go hand in hand. So just to talk about the breathwork practice that I follow. As I said, over a year ago in September, a good friend of mine had come across this particular diaphragmatic breathwork practice and they shared it with me. And I started using it. Basically, this particular practice, it's like 5-day cycles, but I've just continually kept using it. I just started it first for the first 5 days. So it's a guided practice that you follow the voice. The first, there's a bit of an introduction. Each day is a slightly different theme. He could be talking about our thoughts and the impact our thoughts have. That all thought starts as agitation in the nervous system. I think he describes it, which I really liked. Another day could be talking about transforming our emotions, coming into our heart, how we integrate all of our experiences, holding only onto the good and the gifts. So that's a lovely sort of introduction or focus for each day. And then he guides us into about 20 minutes of this diaphragmatic breathwork exercise. Now it's quite strong. And it basically consists of in through the nose, 2 breaths into the abdomen, then into the chest, and then breathing out. He guides you through it and you build up a rhythm and a speed and it becomes quite strong. It takes time to do that. When I started first, I had a lot of catching in my throat because it was obviously to do with my own self-expression and communication. So different times, it'll vary. It's very interesting. Over a year, I've seen how it varies every time I do the practice, depending on what's going on for me and what's going on emotionally. And then he finishes it off with sort of a 5-minute sort of relaxation meditation. Very important also as you're doing the breath work is he guides you in this particular one to sort of soften different muscles, because when we're breathing that strongly, we can be inclined to hold, and then we're not letting the energy move through us. So the reason I sort of say, from my experience, it's good to do some work on clearing the backlog, as I say, or do it alongside, is that it can be overwhelming the first time in a good way, because it means the energy is moving and is shifting. And I felt that the first day. I had tears, I felt everything tingling, a really powerful force, but that's your life force starting to move again in you. So it's really, really powerful. So that practice, I just highly recommend. It has changed everything for me. As I said, I'm sharing here a perspective on, what has worked for me. I've done lots of other things as well, and I continue to do so. But just today I wanted to focus on breath work, because another aspect of it as well, and I found I actually was going to record this video at the weekend a few days ago, but I actually went through my own more sort of older emotions and fears and anxiety surfaced. And even though I've worked on a lot of these, I feel you're sort of always going deeper in. And what happens to me is just another thing to be, I suppose, aware of. What I can find is I start projecting externally, and I did start doing that. I was feeling very uncomfortable, didn't want to feel what I was feeling, so I started projecting outwards towards people, not in my head, not directly at them, and also with the world, because we can also pick up in the collective. And I realized that anytime that happens, I'm being triggered really to go within and heal whatever needs to be healed. Because when I've noticed that when I'm feeling very centered, calm, clear, what's happening in the external doesn't affect me in the same way. So it's always a reminder. I find it difficult. It's easier sometimes to project, but it's sort of guiding me to go within. So yeah, a breathwork practice to me is just so powerful. Really, really helps, because our breath, it brings me back to always, our breath is our connection to it's our life. It's, keeps us alive. It connects us to our life force. So I've always noticed even since I started this practice, I was just thinking, my voice has changed in the last few years. Now I can speed up again if I get a little bit nervous or anxious, but generally I used to speak really fast. My breathing generally is different when I'm centered and calm. I'm so present in a really good day. The creativity just flows through me that I never even knew I had access to. And that's from our creator. And we're a spark of that creation. We are just, an aspect of creation in physical body. And when you really start to realize this, you really want to make sure you have, you're living to the fullest and have the fullest access to all of that creative power. And that's where breathwork has changed absolutely everything for me. Really has. One other revelation just to share as well is that, and I really think this should be taught to children, to everyone, is what kept me away, I think, from doing any of this work was the emotional pain. That any time, just the memory of it, I just really felt if I go near this, I'm going to be stuck in it forever. And the truth is you're not. The minute now, again, as I said, you may need help. It takes time. The minute once you start moving this energy through you, it dissolves. You literally have to feel it. You have to see it. You have to acknowledge it and let it go. And it's gone. Whereas when we hold on to this emotional, emotions and pain and energy within it, we suffer. I suffered dreadfully for a long time, always trying to avoid feeling. So it's just a very as I said, very powerful practice. If you're suffering from anxiety, I just want to say to you, you're strong. You're obviously very strong to keep going, to be living, and you're obviously very empathic as well, because often we're picking up on others' energy, the collective, and not just our own. So it's always to be conscious of that too. But you're strong enough to do this work, and you're strong enough to free yourself. And really, it's not to say, lots of people are really creative and doing lots of great things while suffering with anxiety, but I think this brings you to another level where you really free yourself. It's as I am, work and practice. I say that all the time, but I just wanted to share that with you today. I hope it helps you. If you haven't already, just click on the link in the description box and you can download my free guide, 6 Signs You're Getting a Spiritual Wake-Up Call. I touch on anxiety there as well as other issues I have struggled with. And I'd love if you liked and subscribed to my channel. So until the next time, thank you for watching and look after yourself.